Okay, so good morning, everyone. We've already got 25 attendees here, so hopefully we'll have some more over the next few minutes. So welcome to, this is week 3 of our webinars, and we are the Devon International Recruitment Hub. So obviously, hopefully some of you have attended the last couple of weeks where we've had sessions on introduction to the organisations. And last week we saw some of our international nurse colleagues from some of the hospitals in Devon talk about their personal journeys and how it was for them when they arrived to Devon. And we've got a couple more personal stories to be told today. So hopefully we won't have any IT issues. Obviously you can never tell. But we've got Tella who's coming from the Royal Devon and Exeter Hospital to talk about her story. And we've got Essie, who is a nurse from North Devon Healthcare Trust. So hopefully that'll be really beneficial to you. And the reason we've asked these people to come and talk about their stories is because that was based on some of your feedback on what you would like to hear in these webinars. So over the course of the next few weeks, we're going to be running these webinars every Thursday, 10 to 11. Jack is one of my colleagues. He's one of our recruitment partners, and he will be sending you out the links for them. And we're going to be looking at a different topic every single week. And obviously, I'd be really interested to get some of your feedback as to things that you may want to hear. But if I just run through the sort of programme, the education programme that we're going to be running over the next few weeks, just to let you know the topics that we're going to be including. So we've done the personal stories last week and today. So what's in store for the next few weeks? We're going to be looking at career development when you arrive in the UK. We're going to have one of our colleagues from the Royal College of Nursing come along to talk about UK culture. We're also going to be inviting some of our colleagues from the British Indian Nurses Association and the British Filipino Nurses Association to come and talk to you. And they'll be able to offer you a lot of support when you arrive in Devon. We're going to be doing some topics on introduction to OSCE. And I'm going to be introducing you to the OSCE handbook for Devon, just so you can start to have a read through that before you arrive. And I think that will really help to ease any anxieties that you may have. Planning on running a topic session on English sayings. So we had some feedback from some of our existing international nurses that was a really helpful session. So that's going to be something that we're going to be covering. So Jack, I don't know if we are ready for Tella Marie. Okay. Are we able to play the video from Essie? Right. So we're just going to be showing you a video now. So Essie is one of our African nurses who joined us in February this year. And he's now just had his family arrive, and we're just about to start the video. So please pop any questions that you've got in the chat and we will answer them a bit later. So enjoy the video.
Hello, my name is Essie, Band 5 nurse in North Devon District Hospital, and I'm here to tell you 3 things why you should come to North Devon District Hospital to work. Okay, so my journey started in November 2020 when I had an interview with the North Devon District Hospital, and I was duly informed that I passed the interview. The process was so fast that it looked like as if it was a dream to me. By December, I had my COS. By January, my visas were ready. By February 2nd, I landed in the hospital. Yeah, I got all the support I needed and had my OSCE training, had my OSCE in March, my PIN came out in April, and now I'm a Band 5 nurse. That is so fast. This is my 5th month in the UK and I'm enjoying it. You can see how excited I am. So that is the number one. My journey was smooth, and they understand the process of bringing in international nurses, and they make it seamless for you. Trust me, you don't need all the hassles of coming in. You need the people that understand recruitment, and these guys, they do. Another thing that you need to know about is that they have a great mentorship program. Also have a great preceptorship program, from the OSCE tutors to your clinical tutors to your ward mentors. They are just
Okay, so just while we wait for the next part of that video, Essie's one of our nurses who came to Devon, and he was allocated to North Devon District Hospital.
like when it was time.
Here we go.
Enjoyed it, like when it was time to start being on my own. I was like, no, leave me, give me other people. I don't want to be alone. So they look after you like you're a baby and make you feel safe while practicing to become a registered nurse in the UK, and that is very important. You have people who have your back, who look after you, who make sure you have the right competencies, who make sure that you have. Enjoyed it, like when it was time to start being on my own. I was like, no, leave me, give me other people. I don't want to be alone. So they look after you like you're a baby and make you feel safe while practicing to become a registered nurse in the UK, and that is very important. You have people who have your back, who look after you, who make sure you have the right competencies, who make sure that you have the right training that you need to have, and that is something that is still very important. In my 11 years of nursing, I'm just 4 months here. I've had more trainings that I've had than my 11 years of being in nursing. Every week, I always have a training, and I always need to be signed off a competencies. And guess what? The day you go for your competency, you don't have to work and you're being paid. So that was new to me, because I'm being paid to learn something new. That's fantastic. They take their competency seriously, and they have people who mentor you, who guide you all through it. The third one, which you have watched in the video in your webinar, is the environment. You can't beat the environment in Devon. It's just picturesque, and everything is just out of the world. You have the beaches, you have the mountains, you have historical monuments, you have trails like the Taka Trail. If you are a bicycle rider, this is just the perfect environment for you. So it gives you a great work balance.
Okay, so we're just waiting for the last part. Here we go.
So it gives you a great work balance. And also, my family just moved down. There are good schools. The community is calm. It's a great place to raise your family. So I'm encouraging you, if you get a placement, if you get an offer from the Devon Trust, pick it up and come join this wonderful team. There's something I'll leave you with. There's something about Devon that is breathtaking and magical. It will make your nursing be something that you love doing. Thank you.
Okay, so we've just had that video from Essie just talking about his journey. So obviously he arrived in February, and he's already had his PIN number for a couple of months, and he's talked about that smooth transition into Devon. So obviously the Devon International Recruitment Team, we're here to support you, and a big part of my role is supporting you before you arrive. And that's part of the reason we've started these webinars, is to offer that support to you, so that we can alleviate some of those anxieties and set you up with that support for when you arrive. And we completely appreciate what a daunting time that this is for you. Obviously, you're coming to a new country, a new job. Some of you may not know anybody in the area. Well, we can support you with those links and set them up, and also introduce you to local organisations and whichever teams that you're going to be working with. And obviously, we appreciate one of the main questions that people ask is about the OSCE, and by introducing you to that before you get here, that will hopefully take a little bit of pressure off. But whichever organisation you work in Devon, you are offered a very good pastoral package. I've looked at all the different packages available in each organisation, and they're all exceptional. And obviously it's my job to make sure you feel completely supported during your transition. So Jack, I don't know if Tella's joined us. No? Okay. Jack, would it be an opportunity now to just plug our social media pages? So we have set up social media accounts. So obviously our pages are Nursing in Devon. We've got a Facebook page, one on LinkedIn and a Twitter account. And I think we're looking at setting up TikTok. So we post regular photos and videos on these pages. So please follow them if you're on Facebook. Oh, and Tella's just popped up to say she's here. That's lovely. So yeah, please follow and like Nursing in Devon on Facebook. Please tell all of your friends. There's also a Twitter account, Nursing in Devon, and we will be posting lots of information on there too. So yeah, absolutely, that's something that you might want to follow and tell everybody about. Spread the word. So we're just waiting for Tella to join us. So Tella is one of our international nurses that's worked at the Royal Devon and Exeter Hospital in Devon for a couple of years and is actually now an OSCE trainer. So obviously she'll be able to talk to you about her journey and the transition into one of our Devon hospitals.
Sorry, Carla, we're just having some technical issues. I can only see yourself and Tracy at the moment on the call. I'm just trying to get Tella in.
Okay. So like we said before, please ask any questions in the chat. Okay, so there's a couple of questions there. Let's have a look at them. Okay, so there's an interview there about COS. So our recruitment team will be in touch with you. Obviously, you had your interview on the March 23rd, so they are working through them at the moment. So please link in with our recruitment team about that. So there's another question there about, may I ask about the hospital we will be working in as to know the area will be, so the way we do this is that we invite you to interview, and then during the interview process we ask you if you have a preference as to which organisation you would like to work in, because some people arriving have friends or family in a particular organisation and would like to go and join them. If there's no preference, then we will inform you which organisation you've been allocated to. Obviously, from the different organisations in Devon, we've got some that are more in a countryside setting, we've got some that are more near the beach, some in a city. So we ask you all of those questions during our interview process so we really take into account your preferences. Okay, so there's a question, another COS question there. Okay, so obviously since the announcement from the government last week about the sort of ban from India being lifted, I know that the recruitment team have been working extremely hard this week, working through paperwork and different causes. So just to reassure you, they will be in touch. So we've got a question there about an offer letter from the RD. So OT will expire next February. Yeah. So you've got plenty of time there. So just to reassure you, I am pretty certain that you will be here and through your OSCE by February. So yeah, hopefully that's provided some assurance to you. And another question there from Indian Nurses and COS. So like I say, obviously we're just still working through all of them at the moment. Obviously the announcement was only made last Thursday, so we will be in touch with you. Okay, I still think we're having a few technical issues. Just trying to get Tella onto the call to talk about her story. So I guess for me, it would be, this is a really good opportunity to get some feedback from you. Obviously, I've gone through our programme as to what we're going to be included on these webinars. Is there anything in addition that you think would be helpful? And obviously our plan is that, you know, these webinars are open to everybody. But at the point that you have your COS, we will have more structured sessions for you, and that will be about introducing you to the clinical teams that you're going to be working with, and maybe doing some more in-depth OSCE training online. But please let me know in the chat if there's anything in addition that you think would be really beneficial for you. Okay, we're still just having a few more technical issues on that the last one. So is there any more questions in the chat? So there's a question there about does the police clearance certificate need to be valid during the OSCE? So yeah, so basically it's the same for any new employees to an NHS organisation. We have to have a that clear police check. Now the way we do it in our organisations is that you will subscribe to a regular, it's called a DBS update. And that's something that the recruitment teams in the depending on which organisation you go to, they will support you with that. So yes, it will need to be valid, but that's part of the recruitment process and you'll be supported with that. So there's a question here about, can I have an idea about the hospital in Exeter? Yes, you certainly can. So that's the Royal Devon and Exeter Hospital, and so Exeter is a city, so it's a cathedral town. It has a very, very small airport. So it's quite, it's got a university in Exeter as well. So it's quite a sort of a diverse city. There's lots of things to do. And in Exeter Hospital, they've got a very well established OSCE team who have been recruiting international nurses for a few years. So you'll be introduced to into the team during your onboarding process. And then when you arrive, obviously, when you're out of quarantine, you'll be started on a 3-week OSCE programme at the Royal Devon Exeter Hospital. So that's 3 weeks full time, and then you sit your exams, and then I think between your exam and waiting for your results, you're then introduced to the clinical teams and the teams that you're going to be working with. So they've got a very well established OSCE and international nurse support team in that organisation. So there are a couple questions there for COS, which I will leave to Jack to answer. I know he's still trying to get our colleague Tella on the line. Yeah, there's a question there about IELTS expiring in November. So I think it depends how soon you arrive in the UK, really. But I am aware that the NMC they're always reviewing this, and I know that they've anybody who's got OET, CBT due to expire by August, I know that's been extended. So it could be that the NMC will review that again. But I think we need to watch this space, and but you know, November is a few months away yet, so I would hope that you would be a good way through the process by then. Oh, it looks like, oh, your token is having some problems, technical problems. I can't see or hear anything. Might be worth logging off and back in again. So another question there. Shall I expect an official email informing about the hospital? As during interview, I was asked my preference but not confirmed. Yes, absolutely. You will be informed about the hospital that you've been allocated to, and you know, when we're partway through our process as a Devon and international recruitment team, we then hand over to the recruitment team within the organisation that you are being deployed to. So please rest assured, yes, you will be absolutely informed. Yep, so there's another question there about COS and nurses OET validity is going to expire. So yeah, as I've said, the NMC are extending that. So anyone who's got OET or CBT due to expire by August, that's being extended. But no, absolutely, I can appreciate the concerns regarding that. Yeah, so we are planning to hold a webinar discussing OSCE content, and I'll introduce you to the OSCE checklist, so you can start to just have a read through. You know, I don't want any of you to feel overwhelmed with the amount of information that's being given to you, but I think a very brief introduction to OSCE would be beneficial. So a question there from Athel. Could you please explain regarding hospitals under the Devon Trust? So the Devon International Recruitment Team, we basically got 6 partnerships within that we're supporting. So there's a Royal Devon in Exeter, University Hospital Plymouth, Torbay in South Devon, Northern Devon Healthcare Trust, and we're also supporting Devon Partnership Trust, which is a mental health trust. So we are recruiting psychiatric nurses for that organisation, and also we're supporting South West Ambulances with nurse recruitment and support. So in regards to how long it takes a PIN number after the OSCE exam, at the moment, the NMC are telling us it can take up to 30 days. And we've heard from some of our colleagues yesterday that there has been a bit of a delay on them because there's, as some of you know, there is now a new NMC process. However, in my own personal experience, it normally takes a couple of weeks. Because I know as soon as you've got your passed your OSCE, you're all very keen to get started as a registrant. So there's someone asking there about some information about Plymouth University Hospital. So during our first webinar, we played all of the recruitment videos for the 6 partnerships that's involved within this. So it might be an idea to we can send those videos out, and And there's a very lovely video from the Plymouth University Hospital about the surrounding areas and the opportunities that you will have. Again, University Hospital Plymouth is a city hospital with a well-established international nurse recruitment team and OSCE trainers. So to assure you, they've been doing this for a few years. So there's a question there about OSCE exams. There has been a slight change. So from August, there's going to be additional skill stations. And part of our team support is that we link up with all of the OSCE trainers of each organisation, and one of our meetings was yesterday, and we were having those conversations about the new OSCE stations, and it will depend on what CBT that you have completed as to which OSCE exam you will take part in. But please be assured you are provided with a lot of OSCE education in every organisation. It doesn't matter which one you're allocated to. The support process there is very good. Yeah, so there's a question there, which hospitals are in the countryside? To be honest, all of them are either in the countryside or very close to the countryside. However, you know, some of the smaller organisations and maybe in a more rural setting in the countryside, I would have said would be Northern Devon Healthcare Trust and Torbay in South Devon. Torbay in South Devon is very close to the beach. You know, the RD&E and University Hospital Plymouth are city hospitals. So although you're only maybe 5 minutes away from the countryside, whichever hospital you live in, Northern Devon Healthcare Trust and Torbay in South Devon, you know, if you look out of one of the windows of the hospital, you can see fields. So I hope that answers your question. Right. So apologies for the technical delay there. We have lovely Tella Marie, who has joined us from the Royal Devon and Exeter Hospital. Thank you, Tella. Sorry about those problems. It's good old IT, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I had to transfer to another computer to
That's absolutely fine. So I'm going to hand over to you, Tella, to tell us your story.
Right. So hi, my name's Tella. Tella Marie. I'm from the Philippines. I moved here to Exeter in summer of 2019, so almost 2 years ago now. So back in the Philippines, I was working as a staff nurse and then decided to move here to the UK. And it was actually a very, just like Jack, not just like Jack, no, not Jack, sorry, Essie rather. It was a rather smooth transition. So it took me around 5 to 6 months to process everything, to come over here. And what made that transition really smooth is the fact that there was always someone to ask. Like, I'm not sure how to proceed, how do we go about this? So there were always people who were very willing to answer those questions. And when I moved here, we were introduced to a person called Ona. She is the overall in charge, the one in charge of international nurses here in RD&E. So that makes it easy because you have that one person you can turn to if you need anything or if you have other concerns. And she's always able to refer you to the right people if you are in need of, say, for example, troubles with paperwork, your documents, or even like adjusting to your life here in Devon. And we have a really good OSCE training support, like Carly's mentioned. So they've been doing the OSCE training for the last, I think, 3 years or so. So I'm very, very lucky to have been part of that. I was recruited into the team last September as a secondment for only 6 months, and then I got the chance to be extended until next year. So this team as well, the practice education team, which includes the OSCE training team, the other colleagues are, so there's a dedicated team as part of the education team that helps the transition nurses. So as soon as you get your PIN here in RDNE, as soon as you get your registration to practice, there is a dedicated team that will follow you up in the ward, make sure you're settling in okay, that you are supported in your learning needs in the wards. And besides that, I think just like I think most of the trusts or all the trusts in Devon, we've got designated preceptors in each ward that is kind of in charge of your overall learning in the ward. And so it's a really good mentorship program there. And I, for one, speaking from experience, most of my experience back in the Philippines is working in the medical ward. So when I moved here, it was kind of overwhelming in the beginning that I had to work in a surgical ward because I barely had any experience in that besides placement as a student. But it was very good in a way that I acknowledged that I had that talk with my line manager, who was also my preceptor, that I have never experienced working in a surgical ward as staff nurse before, and that kind of made him come up with a plan on how to go about it. Maybe a day working with in theaters, observing surgeries that are kind of the normal surgeries that our ward deals with. So I work in a vascular surgery ward. So I was given a chance to observe a below the knee amputation. I also had a chance to shadow people with the diabetes team, the podiatry team. So as part of that, so it's a really good kind of holistic kind of learning on your part. So that does happen in all the wards in Exeter and RTNE. So the learning is fabulous. So if there is any worry about being assigned in a ward that you're not familiar with, or you have no background or experience in whatsoever, you are given that kind of training. So there's that. And overall life in Devon, I must agree with Essie. There's always that work-life balance as well. The pastoral support is incredible. You've got people to ask if you have difficulties settling in the place, even up to things like not knowing which accommodation to get, where to live around Exeter, where to go to if you need this. So there is that guide, and yeah, so we've also kind of, a lot of the practice education team members are actually very good in following up with people, even if you've been here years already and kind of settled in. They still take time to ask you, how are you, any concerns that you would like us to help you with. I know that recently a lot of nurses who moved here in 2018 and 2019 have gone for other positions besides the one that they started with. So some of them have gone on to working as band sixes in other wards. And part of the support that the education team can give is to kind of help you how you go about with interviews, kind of like a practice session. This is something that probably you should be able to talk about. So the support doesn't stop when you've got your registration or when you have settled in your ward, so it goes after that. So that makes it very easy for all of us to kind of feel very welcome here and very much accommodated. And yeah, so the support is really good. I'm repeating myself, but yeah, it is. So there are always people to ask, and which is incredible. And there is a big international nurses community all around Devon, so you never have to feel like you're on your own. The fact that in Exeter there's also a big, like I think Carly mentioned that earlier, about a university. We've got a big international student community as well, and so yeah, I think that's it for me. But I think what stands out is that for Devon, overall, it's kind of, there's a sense of family with international nurses, regardless of where you come from, really. And besides that international community, you've got the local community that is very receptive and very welcoming, and yeah, so overall very supportive with any endeavor that you wish to take, additional learning needs that you might want to be addressed. So any questions I can answer.
Lovely, thank you, Tella. That's really lovely to hear your journey. And I was talking earlier and just saying that you're now one of the OSCE trainers, aren't you?
Yes. So yeah, so I was working in my ward for a year, and then this opportunity came up. So when it was advertised, I thought, I wasn't sure at first whether we can all go for it, knowing that, you know, we've only been here a year or something like that. But Tim, who's our OSCE lead, he personally messaged the entire nurses, the international nurses, that yes, you can be part of this too, especially that you can bring to the table what other people can't, that you've gone through this experience yourself, and you're able to provide the pastoral care because you've had that first-hand experience yourself. So that's why we've gone for this job, and there are two of us who've gone through the process who are part of the OSCE training team. So.
Yeah, so you really know firsthand how it is when you arrive, and that the pressure's on. So no, that's really good. So are there any questions for Tella? Please pop them in the chat. That was great, Tella. So Jack, I didn't know, there's quite a few questions in the chat about cars. I didn't know if you could just provide an update from the recruitment team.
Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. Yeah, so the message is, so we're working very closely with our trusts within Devon to get the numbers of nurseries required, and make sure that we're filling them with the nurses that have the right experience, and also listening to the hospitals that you want to deploy to as well. So we're getting ready our August intake as we speak. So my other recruitment colleagues are going through all the paperwork now and getting them ready. We're also looking, obviously, over the next month, so September, and then every month onwards. So we are working through everybody as quickly as possible. So yeah, hopefully soon you'll be hearing from us to confirm which hospital you will be joining, potential deployment date, for example, August, September. But yeah, you'll just have to bear with us. Unfortunately, I can't give you any more sort of information as that as we currently stand. But obviously, as soon as I know the numbers, we will be coming straight to you to get your COS sorted as soon as possible.
Lovely, thank you, Jack. So you will see that Jack has put in the chat box our social media pages there. So you'll see a Facebook one, Twitter and LinkedIn. please all of you follow those pages, because as I said, we will be providing information on there, sharing success stories of the international nurses that we have in Devon, and sharing lots of lovely photos. So it'll be really really good for you to, if you could just click on those links and follow them, please. So what I'll do, I'll just run through what's in store over the next few weeks, so that you know what sessions we're going to be covering. So obviously we've had a couple of weeks of our personal stories from our international nurses. We're going to have a focus on career development once you get to the UK. And I see there's a really good question in the chat about having a master's and will this have any special benefits. So not initially. Obviously, the first priority when you arrive here is to settle in and get through your OSCE and become pinned. However, having a master's will absolutely set you up for leadership positions here. And that is the wonderful thing about NHS, is that they are keen to develop and support you. So the fact that you've got a you up for further development in the future. So yes. So we're going to be covering career development. We're going to have a session from our regional director from the Royal College of Nursing about UK culture, and Lucy will talk to you about her own personal journey to the UK as well. We're going to introduce you to our associations and groups such as British Indian Nurses Association and the British Filipino Nurses Association, and they'll be providing some sessions as to supporting your local areas on arrival, because they have networks all over the UK, and that's there to make sure you feel supported and not alone. We're going to do some sessions on introduction to OSCE, and I'm hoping lovely Tella will come along and help me with that at some point. Yes. Is that all right, Tella?
Of course, yes, definitely.
And we're going to have some sessions on English sayings and maybe some sessions on English food and the famous Devon cream tea, which I will show you how to put together properly, the Devon way. So that's the sort of things we'll be covering. But please, obviously, if there are other things that you would like us to cover, this is all about supporting you before arrival to the UK. So we're relieving some of that anxiety, and obviously we will be introducing you to your clinical teams, so that you've already got friends here before you arrive, and that's really important. Right, let me go through the questions to see if there's anything. So Athol George has come up with a really good idea, and that's something we can certainly do, and that's being given a list of things we need to carry to the UK, for example, laptop. Great idea, and that's something that I can certainly work on, so that you're fully prepared. I mean, the most important thing I would say would be a warm coat. However, a lot of you will be arriving during our warmer months, but you will definitely need a warm coat. But no, I will work on that, of course. If I've any other questions. Jack, are you able just to pop the team email address in the chat? Someone's asked for an email ID. Thank you. Just going down through them. Right, so there's a question here about online CBT exam from home. Now, we have just received some information from the NMC about this. So I'm happy, Mary, if you want to email the team and we can provide you with the information that we've been given. Devon green tea sounds great. So yeah, it's Devon cream tea. So it's yeah, you'll love it. Okay. Okay. So I think that's managed to cover all of the questions. So I hope you've, Jackie, is there anything else you wanted to pick up? Okay. So thank you all so much for joining our webinar today. Please click on our social media accounts, follow us, like us, tell your friends, tell everyone about us. And obviously we'll have another session next Thursday, 10 to 11, always the same time, always the same day of the week. Please come next time. We're doing something different every week, as I've told you, the timetable that we've got planned. Massive thank you to lovely Tella from one of our Devon hospitals for talking about our journey, and those of you going to the RD&E will have further contact with Tella, and she's going to be doing some introduction to OSCE on these webinars too. So please, email us if you've got any further questions, and we will see you all next Thursday. Stay safe, everyone, and take care. Bye.
Thank you.